sat within the valley green. I sat me with my true love. My sad heart strove the two between the old love and the new love. The old for her, the new that made me think of Ireland dearly. Well, soft the wind blew down the clay and shook the golden barley.
'Tis the darkness that's hard to get used to. The whole town of Naas is in darkness. 'Tis just as well as I know Naas so well for my deliveries. I know all its lanes and alleys and all its families for my deliveries. Mostly food, bread, milk, fresh water, soup, and poultices and medicine. Miss Riley hates the dark. She's low and melancholy most times. But when her humour's grand, she's great. She's her own best friend when her humour's good, talks away to herself. But she's low and melancholy. Everyone in Naas is, since this influenza. She told me herself. Molly Gray, she says to me. Molly Gray, I'm so low, I'm cold. When the influenza struck, it laid low all the workers at the gasworks. Now there's no street lights, darkness, no gas. One of the women said, the devil surely walks this earth when the babes and infants are being killed by this influenza and is stacking the coffins beyond the poor house. And other women say, 'twill be grand next year. And my neighbour Mrs. Curtis always says, don't worry, this time next year we'll all be hale again. And 'tis a funny thing, I say to my father. Why is everyone saying 'twill be grand next year and this time next year we'll all be calm again? Why a year? Why a year from here? And my father says, 'tis a natural thing where our lives is divided by seasons, and a year is the shortest way from germination to flowering to harvesting and back again. And anyway, says he, 'tis not a long time. Molly, says he to me, just remember, 1 year isn't 7. 'Twas the finest thing I've heard this long time. 1 year isn't 7. We run the soup kitchen every day from Naas Town Hall from 11 till 1. And those late so much so they can't make it, we deliver to. That's what I do, deliveries. To the elders mostly, and houses where the entire families are laid to bed. And the people of Naas are so generous, so many donations of food and supplies. And Nurse Maloney says, we must keep giving them hope, and more so, be their hope. The 3 physicians are all still sick. Dr. Cody, Dr. Murphy, and Dr. Brown. 3 doctors in Naas, and all laid low. 'Tis up to us now, says Nurse Maloney, us women and girls. And she's clear on all the rules. Wash your hands, keep them clean, always wear a mask, stand 2 yards away from everyone, and 'tis the same instructions from the parish priest, the reverend, and the police too. And Father says, when the Catholics, the Protestants, and the constabulary are all given the same sermon, then you know it's feckin' serious. And 'tis in the newspapers too. Both newspapers is saying the authorities have failed us and the government and its instruments are a terrific shambles. And Father says, 'tis natural for the Leinster leader to condemn the government, they being Sinn Féin. But when the Kildare Observer does likewise, well, that's a strange and worrying caprice, says he. Very worrying. I called to Mr. Gogarty today. Time was I'd love to visit his drapery with all its gay and bright fashions. Now, I don't believe that the devil walks this earth, but if you were looking for testament of it, then look no further than Mr. Gogarty. Daughter, son, brother, and nephew, all dead from this plague. He was weak, barely opening the door. I gave him the few provisions. His skin, that grey ashen of them with influenza. He was in pain. Despite his malady, he was as civil as always. I bade him goodbye and turned to go, for to tarry is forbidden, says Nurse Maloney, as the work is so great. Good evening, Mr. Gogarty, says I, and I turned and took me leave. Barely 5 paces from his drapery, and he called to me in a croak, Molly, Miss Molly Gray. And when I returned, he bid me wait, and into his drapery he went. And through the ajar door, I saw him take a 2-yard stretch of ribbon from the giant spool on the counter. Here it is, red. Have this, he said, and I took it and thanked him so. I hope you will have a cause to use it, he said. Oh, I will, says I. I will use it to rim a pretty bonnet that I'm hoping to wear to Punchestown next year, when all is well and calm, and when we is all hale and nice again. A little laugh crept out of him. A year from now, oh, I hope, I hope. But another year more of this darkness, a whole year. Be hopeful, Mr. Gogarty, and don't fear, says I, for it may be a year till we are all well again, but 1 year isn't 7. Well, that's as true as scripture. And he laughed and says to himself, 1 year isn't 7.
The spell has been broken, clouds breaking for sun.